people have said it. Enough is enough. We want to work at a workplace where we feel heard, appreciated, and understood. The question is such commentary good news for you or bad news for you? Why do we really leave or stay in jobs?
This is the first job where I've really felt like I am making fundamental difference in a company. I'm not just a cog in the wheel. And that is so empowering and really just kind of overwhelming at times.
All of a sudden saying, this isn't what I want to do anymore. I was in a really dark place in my life. And when I saw that glimmer of creativity and I could start tomorrow, it was, okay, I'm not doing anything else. And I might as well take some action and do it.
That was a real signpost of why am I really struggling here? You know, this is beyond what should feel normal.
Hi, welcome to Dear Workplace, where we study workplace trends, changes, and challenges. I'm your host, Monica King, founder and CEO of Innovators Box. And today, I'm eager to understand the psychology and science as to why we stay and leave jobs. From a glance, the reasons seem clear. We leave jobs when we don't feel empowered, aren't paid fairly, and aren't appreciated. We stay in jobs where we can grow, feel appreciated, be paid well, and be ourselves. What seems unclear is why some people leave workplaces with good intentions and why some people stay in workplaces despite its faults. Yes, it's not so black and white. How can we change the way we think about working, forever noting that why we stay is so much more than just benefits? We want to be appreciated at work and have the chance to grow. Today, I invited a few leaders and friends to share why they decided to stay in jobs despite challenges and why they left other jobs despite loving them. I resonated so much with what they shared, and I think you will too.
It really came down to the fact that she put a lot of faith in me without knowing me very well. And I think, again, it came down to our chemistry, how we interacted with one another.
Meet Colin Perez, the Director of Business Strategy, Terra Translations. What you just heard was a piece of insight into why Colleen knew she wanted to stay at Terra Translations and grow with the company. This putting a lot of faith in me is a powerful relationship to have. It means the other party respects us, supports us, and trusts us. Having worked at jobs where I both had that and did not have it, I know that is one key element that we can't take for granted. And no, she isn't just saying this because we also have Marina Ilani, the CEO of Terra Translations, on the call together. And she genuinely means it. And yes, Colleen shares honestly how at the beginning she wasn't sure if she wanted to work here. Her work style was different and she wasn't really looking for a new job.
I've thought about it a lot because I think that at the time it was kind of a scary decision because the point at which Terra was at the time is not where we are now. You know, at the time we were 30 employees, we were pivoting as a company to explore new clients, or at least Marina was. And she explained sort of her high level vision to me. And I am a very type A person. I like structure. I'm very cautious. I am very risk averse. I'm very much the opposite of Marina. And I think that's why she's so adventurous and so inspired to really follow her gut. And I think that's why we really make a good team. And initially, during that first conversation, all the things she was saying to me, I was thinking to myself, yeah, you know, I really feel like I can make a roadmap for this company. We're going to do it together. And it really came down to the fact that she put a lot of faith in me without knowing me very well. And I think, again, it came down to our chemistry, how we interacted with one another. And it's done really great things, I think, for us up until this point. You know, we're 3+ years later. we're over 100 employees now, and we are really seeing the fruits of that initial seed come to life. And this is the first job where I've really felt like I am making fundamental difference in a company. I'm not just a cog in the wheel. And that is so empowering and really just kind of overwhelming at times. But yeah, that's really how that very scary, like, I'm just going to take a step and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? And there's beautiful things have come of it.
Beautiful indeed. Colleen's reflection on why she stayed and why she wants to grow at Terra really affirms one of the key lessons we are forgetting to appreciate at work. Really getting curious about why we want to stay at jobs. It's not just about promotion and titles. That's all great too, but it's so much more. How many opportunities are there to grow, speak up, lead, and initiate? Unfortunately, many of us would probably resonate with Colleen's reflection on how it could feel to be a cog in the wheel. And so when she shares this is a job she doesn't feel like that, yes, sign me up, is how we would feel. I asked Marina what she does to make space for that. A lot of leaders mean to do this but struggle to. What are you doing that has really helped bring the team together?
Yeah, it's been all about putting a lot of focus in the HR department. So we have a really amazing HR director that has helped us bring in a lot of initiatives to maintain this culture. And I think we've been able to do it very successfully so far. And I'm really proud of it. In fact, this year we got the Great Place to Work certification. And so, yeah, we're very proud about those things. And it's just like, it's putting a lot of effort in it, like if you have this vision is, okay, how can I make it happen? You cannot just like let it be and hope for the best. Like we really put effort in it.
Effort, indeed. People's development takes time and care. So where do you start? Would you be willing to share a few examples? There are many, Marina shares, but two really stands out to be the most important areas: how you hire and how you take on feedback and suggestions.
One is the hiring process. So we have a really solid team doing the interview process, and we do some assessments, even like personality assessments, to know if this person joining our team is aligned with our culture and our values. This is super important to us. This is like the most important thing for us. Like all the technical skills can be learned, but these skills like really need to be in line with the company.
Yes, it does take extra time to find clarity in who you are as a company and what you stand for, but that time is so invaluable. And this isn't good just for hiring. It's also crucial in how and who you partner with. At Innovators Box, I noticed how values played a key role in how and who we partnered with in our community events and initiatives like this podcast. As you may have noticed, we're intentional about finding guests on this show who are not only good at what they do, but are willing to be vulnerable, reflective, and lead with their heart. This is because that's an important value for us. And as Marina shared how they took the time to center value, I found myself nodding again how that is so crucial, even if it takes time building it. What about how you listen to your people?
So we put a lot of effort there. So we choose people really carefully and really well. And then we listen to the people that work with us. We run this survey once a year, and based on the survey, we take specific actions that can help with improving things that we see might need improvement or suggestions that people make. One of these things, for example, is as the company grew, they were feeling that they didn't get to know me very well. Like new people only saw me maybe like once a month in a meeting or something like that. So we created an initiative so that I could just like grab coffee with a group of different people from the company. things like that. Like the other initiative that also came out of this survey that we do is people wanted to know like what other people in other teams were doing, and like they wanted to feel like they knew the other people and not just the team that they work with, you know. So we created a newsletter, a company newsletter, and this newsletter first started like, oh, let's share like some pictures and some achievements from teams, and now it's grown to like a full-on project that we do every month. We share like memes, we share recommendations, we share pictures, we share accomplishments, we share success stories from our clients, like everything we share in this newsletter. And it truly feels that it's, you know, the one place to learn like what everyone's up to, and it's super exciting. We make it really fun. And yeah, those are some of the things that we are doing to create that, maintain that positive culture.
I love these examples. As simple as the examples Marina share may look like, they are very intentional and take a lot of operational planning. Those monthly newsletters you receive from companies, it takes hours of editing and strategizing to put that together. And doing that both internally and externally now means doubling the work. Still, she says yes to those because she knows it's those details that help team members feel connected. And again, make team members, like Colleen, feel that they are part of a company shaping the journey, not a cog in the wheel. Sometimes though, loving what we do is not enough. Julian shares why he left both opera and business even though he was great at it.
I mean, there's a lot to say. I think the thing that struck me as you were asking the question is that, you know, when I was doing opera and when I was doing business, it was very much about some kind of performance where there would be a metric of validation. So, you know, in being a performer, it was about, you know, if I sung well, you know, you'd get great feedback and applause. And with business, you know, if we got things right, we would make money and we would be successful. And I think that being attached personally to the need for validation was something that drove me. It made me very determined. And was I passionate about those things? I was certainly very determined because they were kind of like, you know, they both offered some kind of holy grail, which was, you know, acknowledgement from the outside world. And that was also a burden. And I think that, you know, it's endemic in the world that we live in, that people are very attached to doing what they think they should be doing in the name of success. And that, you know, that there's a societal narrative about that, but there's also, you know, the background that you come from.
Getting us deep from the beginning. Meet Julian Saib, an executive coach and founder of Julian Alexander and Associations World, known as the JAA World in London, United Kingdom. This is the really powerful insight and reminder. How much of what you do are you doing because you feel like you have to do it or because it will be seen as successful? Would you do any of it if that didn't matter? Julian realized even though he was successful with opera and business, it didn't mean he was passionate about it, which led him to wanting to become a coach.
So where coaching is different for me is it's not about me. It's about the space that I share with another person or a team and letting go of our ego and our agenda and seeing what emerges. And that for me has been a gift. Is it like a healing gift? Because I think I was plagued for many years of this, you know, if I'm successful, I am okay. And that manifests itself as an opera singer. You know, if I sing well, I'll get a good review and people will say nice things about me. And in business, if we win business, then we are worth something. So I think this whole shift for me, coaching about letting go of ego, has been a real watershed moment in my life. And I think that's, you know, and it's really at the heart of the work I do, which is about, you know, there's people are really suffering from things like imposter syndrome. You know, who am I? You know, am I good enough? Am I successful enough? You know, or defining who they are by their success. And I think my whole journey has been being blind to the fact that actually I was very attached to all those things, then becoming aware of it, then realizing that it wasn't serving me well, and now helping other people to see the same.
Julian is human too, though. These important lessons did not come overnight. When I followed up with him on what helped him really grasp these insights and differences, he reminds me how it wasn't always easy. In fact, it was rather hard.
Sure, really good question. Yeah, I mean, I think that, life is a dark teacher. Bad things happen, difficult things happen, so that it's our unconscious inviting us to look for a better way. So for me, my biggest challenge as an opera singer was performance anxiety, and I talk about that now, not so much about my own experience, but what is performance anxiety? Where does it come from? What's really going on when we feel so anxious about standing up and performing? And that's a really interesting space for me. So initially, I was so lost in anxiety that I couldn't even put a label to it. I just thought that was what I was saddled with. It was like a curse. And don't get me wrong here, I love opera and I loved singing and I loved the world of music, but with it came this anxiety. And I coach top performance. There are many people who, on the face of it, are very high achievers, sportsmen, musicians, executives, but who are really struggling. So for me, that was a real signpost of why am I really struggling here? This is beyond what should feel normal. And it was when I took a step back from being a singer, had some time out, started to reflect on it, started to talk to a therapist to try and understand it, worked through mindfulness and all those things. And then finally made a decision that it was too much of a challenge. And when I went into business, I think one of the things about going into business was working with other people.
Time to pause and reflect was deeply needed to really understand what he wanted, why he wanted, and what he wanted to do with the insights he discovered. How often do we take the time to ask, what do you really want? And why do you want that in your career? Is that project really what you want or something that will make you feel successful? When we take the time to find clarity in what we want and what we don't want, it helps us determine how we want to grow in the office we are working. So lesson 2 is to give your people space and time to think and reflect. Yes, maybe some may feel this space is not for them, but others will be reaffirmed at why they love doing what they do at your organization with you. Working them nonstop without space to breathe and really ask why they do what they do will not give them a chance to reflect and enjoy. Still, sometimes we still leave jobs because no matter how much we love the impact we could create, we feel the system does not support the pacing of the impact we want to create. Dr. Cindy Brunette, former associate professor at Buffalo State College, shares why she left her role at the organization she loved and cared for so much. Yes, even as a tenured professor, which most would not think twice about leaving.
The great thing about the academic side of things is there's constant change, there's constant challenge. And at the same time, that also led me to not want to be an academic anymore, which was, 20 years in. So this is about 3 years ago, I went on sabbatical for the first time. So I became a tenured professor, got my doctorate, became tenured, and I went a year-long sabbatical. And I'll never forget, I was in Hawaii and I looked at my husband and I said, I'm really frustrated with being an academic. And he said, why? And I said, because everything we do takes years to get out there to the world. And it's a very frustrating part of being an academic, and something I've talked a lot about with other academics, that you work on an article, a research piece, and you spend 2 years collecting data and writing it up, and then you submit it to a journal, and then 6 months later they come back and they say, we didn't even read it because it wasn't part of our mission and what we're trying to do right now, so send it someplace else. And then you wait another 6 months, and then by the time it goes live, it can be years and years later where you think that I don't even know if this is relevant anymore. So I wanted to build something that could really have immediate impact for educators and parents, that if they chose to say, I really believe creativity is important and I want to bring it into my homework classroom, that we could provide resources to start today. And so that became my mission about 2.5 years ago.
I appreciated the humility and honest reflection Dr. Cindy shared here. How would you leave a job that you loved for 20 plus years and more?
I went back to my colleagues in the department and I said, I love all of you, but it's time for something else. And I really want to pursue this vision that I have. And I really want to spend my days working with educators and parents to see how I can help them. And it's really hard to do that in an academic setting, especially when there's a lot of restrictions and requirements and things like that. So I had the full support of my husband, which was very fortunate because he said, I believe in you and I believe that you can build whatever will make meaning for the world, and I want you to do that. So that was that transition.
I knew of her dedication to this work because that's how I met her. I was one of the million students taking her online course on creativity that was available on edX platforms. This was prior to Innovators Box, where I was hungry to learn everything I could on creativity. And out of all the courses, her approach was not only practical, relatable, but enjoyable. The fun activities made me want to be creative and enjoy play, and she helped disappear the fears I had about creativity. And her eagerness and determination to now bring that to parents, educators, and youth is exciting because I know how much what she puts to mind, she makes happen. This isn't the first time, though, she had to pivot to find something where she could bring greater value. Way back when, early in her career, she was pursuing theater performance, very competitively. She did well, but there were parts where she felt something was missing.
When I had come back from tour and I was in a very bad state, I was very depressed. Given I had spent my whole life working to becoming a performing artist, and all of a sudden saying, this isn't what I want to do anymore. I was in a really dark place in my life. And when I saw that glimmer of creativity and I could start tomorrow, it was, okay, I'm not doing anything else. And I might as well take some action and do it. And what I learned in learning about the cognitive side of creativity is really about possibilities. It's about generating possibilities. And for me, those possibilities brought me to a space of I can do anything in the world. In fact, I'll never forget, I was sitting with my first professor, Dr. Roger Firestein, and I joke about it with him now because he's a good friend and colleague of mine. But what happened was I went home that first day when I started learning about how to generate ideas, and I covered my walls with Post-its of all the things that I could be in my life. And I went through this process to try to uncover what it is I really wanted to do. And one of the things I really enjoyed was when I was a graduate student, I had the opportunity to work with one of the college professors, Mike Fox, and I got to go into his classes and I got to teach some of the lessons, and I loved it. I loved working with college students. I loved the academic setting. I've always loved education. I just knew I couldn't teach the little ones. Originally when I came back from tour, someone said, you should go be an elementary school teacher. And I said, I love kids. I love them. I don't know if I have the patience to do it every day.
Seeing everything with possibilities. Dr. Cindy shares the key secret to how we reframe why we stay in jobs. When we are in roles where we feel we can create and see possibilities, we want to stay no matter the challenge. The second secret to that? As individuals, we all can be the protagonist in leading that narrative. Yes, it is great to have a company that understands that. And yes, it's helpful when our managers look out for it. But what's more important is that we seek it, want it, ask for it, and reflect upon it. And leaders who are building companies for such people, listen to them. Listen to what they really want and ask what they really want. People don't want to be treated as a machine. Yes, they are here to do the work, but they have thoughts, opinions, and a voice. The key is, whether you are here as a leader or not, we all have a chance to design the workplace as a way we could enjoy and want to grow. The key is us. What do you really want as a person? What does your company really want? So the next time you wonder, why do we leave jobs? Really ask and be curious. Why do we really leave or stay at our jobs? It's so much more than the title and the promotion. And it's time we all rethink how we build a workplace, thinking about all those nuances. Thank you all so much for joining us back to Season 2. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And I hope that you are leaving with more questions and insights as usual. Thank you, Julian, Colleen, Marina, and Dr. Sydney for joining today's show. Please take a moment to follow and learn more about their work and story by clicking their name in our show notes. I'm Monica King, founder of Innovators Box and your host of this show, Dear Workplace. Next week, we're diving deeper into the question of what does it really mean to bring our full selves to work, and why does that feel hard and easy at different times? Please send me your questions and thoughts at info@innovatorsbox.com or dearworkplace.com. We're also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and any other social media platform. Have a great week start, and we can't wait to see you again next week. P.S. If you are curious to learn more about how different people thrive at different jobs, take a moment to look up our other show, Curious Monica. I'll be sharing some updates also on something I've been working on recently. So talk soon. Have a great day. Oh hey, it's Monica King from Innovators Box, and I hope you're enjoying our show, Dear Workplace. This show is brought together by our awesome team. Sam Lemmert on audio engineering and editing, Kelly Gravo on marketing, Akriti Pandey on website, Monica Escobar on branding, Leah Orsini on social media graphics, Sara Piedretti and Flor on project assistance, and Luke Helder on original music. And of course, Dear Workplace is hosted and directed by me, Monica King, founder and CEO of Innovators Box and Innovators Box Studios. To continue the conversation of reimagining the workplace, please visit us at innovatorsbox.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share. Every support helps. We'd love to hear what you enjoyed and what we can uncover again in our next episodes. Please send us a note and we'll see you next week.